In this presentation, there will be information regarding the fire departments in the specific community of Kentwood, Louisiana. The information presented is associated with all fire departments in the community as they are run by the same chief, Fire Chief Gerald Griffith. For this presentation, the assigned community is Safety and Transportation Fire Protection. This component presentation is specific to the community of Kentwood, Louisiana. The main resource used in gathering the information in this presentation is a telephone interview with the Kentwood local fire chief, Gerald Griffith. Fire Chief Gerald Griffith is the local fire chief over all fire departments in the community of Kentwood. The interview provided a first-hand insight on the fire protection in the Kentwood community. The fire departments in Kentwood provide community services such as school fire safety seminars and in-home fire drills. The school fire safety seminars include information such as stop, drop, and roll, and general knowledge of what one should do if their home were to catch fire. The stations also bring their fire trucks to encourage students to learn what is being taught. The in-home fire drills are a way to guide the community firsthand in order to know fire safety knowledge specific to their home. Discussed in a later slide, the fire departments in the community of Kentwood also provide training nights twice a month. With budget constraints, the departments get their money from taxes, and they are given $600,000 a year to operate on. This is before expenses are removed, however. With 7 people on duty full-time, $400,000 are used from this yearly budget for pay to the personnel. This leaves $200,000 left from this original budget yearly to be used on fuel and other expenses. In the community of Kentwood, the fire departments consist of 7 people working full-time, 40 volunteers, and 15 vehicles. These 15 vehicles include brush trucks, fire engines, and rescue units. With training and certification, all full-time personnel have to have special training certifications through the academy, which are called Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2. In addition to this, they all have to have, at minimum, EMR training and certification. Of the full-time workers in the Kentwood Fire Departments, many are EMT or first responder certified. In addition to this, there's one who is paramedic certified. The Kentwood Fire Departments also provide training nights, which take place on the first and third Monday nights of the month. According to the local fire chief, the fire safety rating of the community is a 5. As far as response time goes for these departments, the response time relies on the location of the call and the distance from the departments. On average, for calls residing in town, the response time is less than 4 minutes. The departments in Kentwood cover not only their town, but all of Tangipahoa Parish, which ends up being 110 square miles. Therefore, if a call resides farther from town, the response time is longer depending on the travel time and the distance. Of the calls that these fire departments get, there are 5 to 6 calls per day, which ends up being around 140 to 150 calls per month. Of their most common types of calls, only 20% of them are fire calls. The other 80% take up for medical calls. For strengths and weaknesses of the community in this component, a strength is that the departments keep someone at the stations 24 hours a day ready to respond. This is a strength because it reduces increased response time, with not having to wait for someone to arrive at the station post-call to respond. Another strength is the educational programs, such as school safety seminars and in-home safety drills. A weakness is the volunteer numbers. Kentwood has a town population of 2,145. There are 40 volunteers out of this town population, and this comes out to a 1.86% of the population involved in volunteering with these departments. This is a weakness because less involvement from the community induces less knowledge and preparedness of fire protection. In any community, there are opportunities to improve certain aspects of the town. For the Kentwood, Louisiana community, there are 3 main opportunities pertaining to fire protection. Increasing the volunteer number would increase the community knowledge in fire safety, as well as aiding the departments when disaster strikes. Having an increase in on-call members at all times at the stations could increase response time and efficiency. This is also more specific in cases where more personnel are needed in certain calls. With the $200,000 remaining budget for fuel and other expenses, fundraising could be an opportunity to increase this budget in case of need. Examples would be broken equipment such as their trucks, or repeated distance calls which use more fuel to respond to. In an interview with the local fire chief, Chief Gerald Griffith expressed that the fire department's main mission and task following Hurricane Ida was clearing roads of debris such as fallen trees in order to be able to reach call destinations and locations. Any storm that could result in fallen trees on roads that the community fire personnel may not be aware of at the times of being called out could pose a threat to the efficiency of the departments as well as safety in the community. From gathering information on this component, Kentwood fire departments pose near no actual weaknesses in this community. This data cluster and problem list includes one actual problem and one potential problem. The first is an actual problem. As previously stated in this presentation, 1.86% of the population of Kentwood is involved in the fire department volunteering. This is a problem because low community involvement in this component puts additional stress on the department's duties with lack of help and support from the people of the community. Also, as said before, low community involvement induces less knowledge and preparedness throughout the community. The second is a potential problem. If a catastrophic event were to happen, or even any type of call came through, there is a limited amount of vehicles that would be able to arrive on scene at the same time, efficiently, due to the worker-to-vehicle ratio being 7-15. The fire departments in the community of Kentwood, Louisiana is one of many impacted by COVID-19. Masks have become a part of the firefighters' on-call uniforms due to the COVID-19 pandemic. When called out to a home, these firefighters have a job to enter, even if it is a COVID-infected home or the person they are sent to rescue is infected themselves. Their job is to now not only be firefighters, but to be more aware and careful of COVID in the locations they are called out to. The visual aid at the bottom right of the slide shows two firefighters from a non-related community wearing the PPE expressed in the interview by Fire Chief Gerald Griffith, including the white-gray Tyvek suits and gloves. During an interview with the Fire Chief Gerald Griffith, many setbacks but also strengths were expressed to have come from Hurricane Ida. The efficiency of the departments were shown strong through tasks such as personnel getting out to cut trees and clearing out roads in order to get to people in need. The clearing of the roads was one of the biggest tasks fire personnel faced. The power and electricity in the community of Kentwood suffered due to Hurricane Ida, although the stations were lucky enough to have generators to supply them with power. This helped the community by allowing the stations to become a shelter for those with damaged homes and/or no power. This also influenced an increase in volunteers during this time. Those who resided at stations were some of the first to stand up and help when those in their community needed assistance. The Kentwood Fire Departments have a motto. According to local Fire Chief Gerald Griffith, this motto is what members of the Kentwood Fire Departments work and stand by. This motto, quoted by Gerald Griffith, is, "Kentwood Volunteer Fire Department is dedicated to the protection and preservation of life and property by providing reliable, professional service of exceptional quality in firefighting, rescue, and emergency medical services. This is based upon pride, honor, integrity, excellence, compassion, discipline, and teamwork." This slide shows the references used to gather information used in this presentation. This is excluding the telephone interview with the local fire chief, Gerald Griffith.